Understand, engage, Civicate. In this video, we are going to talk about democracy and some of the important ideas that led to our form of government. The American form of democracy was actually a great experiment. There wasn't anything like it in the world when it was created. The Founding Fathers had a few very important principles when they drew up our government. The first is the idea of natural rights, that all people are created equal, entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. This idea came from a philosopher named John Locke, and our founders wrote it into the Declaration of Independence. Democracy means government by the people. Our founders wanted the people to elect representatives, which would form a republic. In a republic, elected leaders represent the views of the people. So our country is actually a democratic republic, which means that the people are governing through their elected leaders. That's why it's so important to vote for leaders who represent your views. Another important idea is limited government, which is exactly what it sounds like. It means that there are limitations on the government's powers that help protect the rights and liberties of the people. The Bill of Rights spells out the limitations on the government. The Founding Fathers made it clear that citizens had certain guaranteed rights that the federal and local governments could never take away. The Founders believed in popular sovereignty, which means that the government's power would be legitimate if it came from the people, or the consent of the governed. That is why the Constitution had to be approved by all the states. They also believed there is a social contract between the people and the government. The social contract is when citizens agree to give up some of their freedoms in exchange for protection and services and to protect the common good. An example of this is that we know we have to go through security before getting on a plane or going into a concert, and we agree because it protects everyone. Our elected leaders are supposed to represent our ideas as they make laws. Sometimes citizens feel like their power is too indirect, and that they can't influence the government as much as they want to. This can happen when a small group of people with a lot of money, power, or education influence politicians, so the leaders represent only a few people instead of everyone. This is known as elite democracy. An example of this is that the president is actually elected by a small group of delegates called the Electoral College instead of the popular vote. In state and local governments, there is more opportunity for individual people to have an effect on a policy or a law. This is participatory democracy. For example, gatherings at town halls, marches, letter-writing campaigns, and petitions often work to create a strong feeling of democracy at work in local government. Finally, another form of democracy is when people join together in groups to influence policies and laws they care about. This is pluralist democracy. Pluralist democracy can be seen in interest groups. There are many examples of interest groups, including ones that promote women's rights, animal rights, and the environment. We'll talk more about interest groups in another video. Whether or not you think individual citizens have enough power in the American form of democracy, it's important to remember that this form of government has lasted for more than 230 years. Every change in power has happened peacefully. The success of American democracy has caused many countries to model their governments on ours. Thanks for watching!